I got a big home, corn feeding mom. All I need is pretty girl. And I'm dark clouds rising, sure side of rain. Get your great morning on, sweet little last train. I got a big home, corn feeding mom. All I need is pretty girl, anywhere I go.
Because the federal government won't. And if you think you're afraid of Trump, you should see how afraid of Trump I am.
What?
It demands
Trump ain't after
a
you, honey.
response from our elected officials to say, we recognize that you are under attack, and in Worcester, we are going to protect you.
That have come out, like the $59 million spent on luxury hotels. It's actually not.
FEMA money for migrants, that's okay now?
No, I'm not saying it's okay. I'm not saying it's okay. Don't put words in
So
my
would
mouth.
you stop that? Would you stop that process?
Don't be the portrayal. What I'm saying is the portrayal by him
Don't
is just
be a
not
what,
factually
Anderson?
accurate. He's
The taxpayers of the United States of America should spend $400 million buying, quote, armored Tesla production units. Isn't it great? And definitely not at all illegal or profoundly corrupt. Definitely not ripping us all off to pay themselves, right?
Donald Trump didn't give that contract to Elon Musk. Joe Biden gave it to him.
Yeah, because they're electric.
Even liberals are calling that out loud. The 400 million armored Tesla story is a fake scandal in a sea of real graft and horror.
Musty millions and musty Moscow rights to the moon.
Right?
Because if you don't, we're going to stand up, we're going to speak out, we're going to march, we're going to do anything we need to do to make sure that the people of this country understand that the CFPB is for them. You get your musty hands off of our money. Or go to
Musty. Don't be musty.
You musty moo moo moo.
Musty moo moo moo. Wait.
Why would you run?
I ain't run though. It just you said it to me, I'm scared. I'm gonna get out of the way. Figure out time. Wait, I didn't know you would come back for me. I'm thank you for coming out.
I told you stop.
No.
And that's why you pulled over there, because these folks over here yelling that you knew you was supposed to be part of
Conduct the genocide. The genocide was conducted by an
By
authoritarian
Hitler.
Nazi regime. There was no free speech in Nazi Germany. There was none. There was also no opposition in Nazi Germany. They were the
dumbass.
sole and only party that governed that country. So that's not an accurate reflection of history.
Dummy.
You are on.
Whoa, whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Put on the brakes. Put on the brakes. Welcome, welcome, boys and girls, children of all ages, hoofties, poofties, bung-eyed heifers, right and left wing wackos, woodchucks and chuckettes, kings and queens of the Northeast Kingdom, which is what we call this corner of Vermont, to another version of Bitch News to Us. And also, you are watching video that was taken on October 7th. October 7th, 2023.
Yes, 2023 is right.
Yeah, when the Hamas people decided to go over to the Nova Festival. It was during the Festival of Tents, and just start shooting up people and taking hostages and doing stuff that the Arabs love to do. Anyways.
Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar! Let's see, who are we? Where are we?
We are right here.
Oh, thanks, Terry. In the booth, we have Philo T. Farnsworth, College of Musical Knowledge, inventor of modern television. You can see him right there through the glass. And you can also see his videos on YouTube. I'm still too loud, Terry. I got a lot of echo.
Oh, okay.
You can see his videos on YouTube at Terry DeFazio. He has drumming videos, so you can bring your kit and drum along with Mitch. Anyways, but we're watching he's our engineer, and you're watching It's News to Us. And we're sponsored this week by Ivor Johnson's Arms and Cycle Works, where I actually worked at this factory for 2 weeks, Philo, when I got out of trade school.
Wow.
In Fitchburg, Mass. Yeah, they said don't bring. You better bring your lunch to work in a metal lunch pail, because if you don't, the rats will chew into the bags.
Nice.
Nice. Yeah, it was an old brick building, man. It was just, I went back after a couple weeks. I went back to the trade school and I says, look, I didn't go through 3 years of blueprint reading, strength of materials, and lathes, millings, friggin' CNC machines. No, find me another place to work. Anyways, yeah, it's so safe. Get one for your kid right here. Hey, she's got one. She doesn't look more than what, 3, 4?
Well,
Everybody loves Ivor Johnson's. As a matter of fact, Ivor Johnson pistol is what Sirhan used, supposedly, to kill Robert Kennedy in the Ambassador Hotel in L.A. in 1968. He managed to get off 11 shots with a 8 or 9 shot revolver, which is a neat trick. And this guy, here's somebody, he's looking for Fauci. Yep. Everybody's looking for Fauci. Man, I get into some funky arguments with some of my friends about the safety and efficacy of that supposed vaccine. And we're all inclusive here. We cater to men, women, everybody. You're all welcome here. And because we welcomed everybody before everybody was welcome, before it was mandatory to welcome them.
Yes, no matter how much they screech at you, and no matter how bat crap crazy they are.
Philo was nice enough to put in a boatload of clips this week, so you have to cut me short this week, Philo, so we can get all those clips in.
Don't worry, I got you all figured out.
Okay, good. And one of them is some girl with blue hair at the Worcester friggin' town council meeting or something, city council meeting. It's crazy. And call your representatives for our Vermont viewers. Call them up, man. They love to hear from you.
I know just what I'd call them too.
Yeah.
Moon bats. All of them are moon bats.
Moon bats. Yeah, it's no. They think the state is liberal. I'm telling you, this country's going so far to the right you won't recognize it. Anyway, this guy's name on the video behind me, his name is Oz Davidian, and he saved I don't know how many kids that day.
He's not a member of the Branch Davidians, was he?
Might be, could be. Don't know, Philo.
I got something funny to tell you about that, but has to do with our sister station over in Burlington.
Yeah, I thought he worked for the public TV station in Burlington.
Yes, she does.
Okay, for the last 2 weeks, we've shown you what the Musketeers have been cutting from these USAID supposed grants. Like I don't know how many million to stop people from defecating in outdoors, in the streets and stuff. Remember? And I could go through more of these. There is just boatloads of these. 20 million for Cambodia, integrated early childhood activity. 29 million for biodiversity resilience in Uganda. Uganda, be kidding me. And Libya. Libya, how many millions here? 28 million to Libya. I'm rounding these numbers off, obviously. Those were the back and forth trips that he made. Behind me. Yeah, what was it? 28 million to Libya. Supporting critical infrastructure owners, operators, oversight bodies to address both immediate vulnerabilities, critical infrastructure sectors, while establishing the basis for a productive enabling environment that addresses legal blah, blah, blah. Here's 36 million even, go figure. 36 million for the West Bank. Not to be confused with Gaza, this is the West Bank. They have two sets of territories, Palestinian territories. Yeah, 36 million for small and medium enterprise assistance for recovery and transition smart activity. Yeah, sure. How many pockets will that line? There's another 55 million for Libya. Which warlord in Libya does this go to? For local governance and civil society under USAID, Libya democracy and governance, blah, blah, blah. So we showed you. Just, and you can, if you want to see this stuff, I'm not going to waste any more time on it. 2 weeks is enough. But if you want to see this stuff for yourself, go to datarepublican.com/award, and you can type in just the keyword, a USAID, and boom, up they come. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them, man. So that's it. You can find them yourself. www.datarepublican.com. So anyways, lo and behold, Philo, I get the local, the state weekly, which ironically, it's oh my God, the Glenn Miller Orchestra. They're playing in Randolph, Philo.
Who is that?
The Glenn Miller Orchestra.
Oh yeah, wow.
Huh. I'll be damned. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 of them. I'll be damned. You know what happened? It was something weird. He had a show to do in Boston, and his trumpet player had cracked his lip or something, and these are the ambulance drivers that saved a bunch of people too. They went where they weren't supposed to, weren't allowed to, but they rescued a boatload of people. But anyways, he split his lip right before the show, right?
Yeah.
So Glenn Miller was forced to replace the trumpet or trombone players with clarinets. And it created a wild sound that the kids just loved, Philo.
Really?
Yep. And you can see it all in that movie, the Glenn Miller story with Jimmy Stewart. But anyways, here it is right here. Cuts Abroad hit home. Now, you would think, right? Here's your chance. Here's your chance. You've got a reporter right there, right with you, who's looking for information about what your company is, what it does, you know, how all this money that you're being given does so much for world peace or whatever it is, you know. And this would be your chance, right? Wrong. They can't. We've been calling out these. What do we call them, Philo? Grant-sucking chair warmers.
Or chair-sucking grant warmers.
Yeah. Well, that's a little different.
Well, anyways, you get the drift, ladies and gentlemen, right? You get the drift.
Yeah. I started this in 2009 because we've got them right here, you know, in Newport. Go figure. They got paid. This one company in Canada, of all places, not even an American company, they paid $55,000 for a slogan for the city of Newport. Newport, genuine by nature. And you know what? Since they came up with that slogan, Philo, here he is leaving his neighborhood early in the morning because the ambulance has cameras all over it, right? Since we've Newport's adopted that slogan, man, we've seen billions in tourism, right, Philo?
Well, we've seen several businesses go out of business.
Right on Main Street too.
Yeah, and all the way up to Derby.
A whole city block of, well, the block wasn't that nothing to write home about. But a whole city block got demolished, and it's still a friggin' gaping hole.
Boy, I'll tell you, Steve, that building was a fire hazard. It would have burned down the whole town.
not to mention rodent infested.
Oh, yeah, and cockroaches. When I was a counselor, I had a couple of people living in those buildings. They said the cockroaches were horrible.
Yeah, I heard that when they were demoing the buildings, the rodents came running out.
Yeah, and squirrels.
Yeah, well, speaking of which, on the way in, they've demolished both corners of the highway in Newport Center, right in Newport Center where the flashing light is, Terry.
Okay.
Right there on the left, on the side where the stream is, right?
Yep.
That building, it was a multi-unit apartment, that one's gone. And on the left, because it goes up towards Betty's place, right?
Yep.
And then on the right side of the road, going up towards Dugan's, that place on that corner has been demolished also.
Huh. Old buildings or abandoned or what?
Well, the one on the left has been vacant for the past 5 years, I'd say at least.
Okay.
And the one, because the units were all jingle-jangled, connected to different heating units, I don't know. And the one on the right had people living in the apartments till recently, like last year. But they've torn it down. So anyways, cuts abroad hit home. Here's your chance, man. Trump's cancellation of U.S. foreign aid means lost contracts and jobs in Vermont. Okay, let's see. Jen Peterson was one of the 150 who worked in Winooski for Tetra Tech, which is part of a... Could you look up Tetra Tech, Philo?
Okay, I'll turn off my microphone so I'm not...
Good, thank you.
Speaking. Tetra Tech, huh?
Yeah, Tetra Tech, 2 words. For news for Tetra Tech, which is part of a global $5 billion company and the 3rd largest USAID contractor in the U.S. She was furloughed last Friday. Her husband had been let go from Tetra Tech, too. She estimated about 2/3 of employees have been furloughed, said the rest of the staffers were put on reduced pay. We still have health care till the end of March. The international development firm Resonance Global, which is based in Burlington and has a widely scattered workforce, laid off 5 Vermont employees, according to a spokesperson. Overall, the company reduced its workforce from 90 to 36 by last Friday. Oh, I don't have a pen on me, damn it.
Okay, I got it for you.
Okay, cool. Shoot, thanks.
It says Tetra Tech is a global engineering and consulting firm that works on projects in many countries. Their work focuses on sustainable infrastructure, renewable energy, water, and environment.
Sustainable
infrastructure,
renewable energy,
water,
obviously,
and the environment.
And the environment too. So we're just feeling real good about ourselves.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff about it.
Yeah.
Big long energy. Yeah.
Well, they're the third largest grant suckers.
Biodiversity.
Of course. So anyways, they go from that one. They lost, I don't know how many. This other one, Resonance Global, they went from 90 to 36. Plenty of people in Vermont had roles in the delivery of international aid. While there's no readily available count, interviews reveal that dozens of Vermonters have lost their positions suddenly, and that some organizations with decades of international experience have lost funding. Some people who live in Vermont have been working remotely for aid organizations that are shedding employees. Geez, doesn't everyone wish they could work remotely, Philo?
Well, some jobs you can, some you can't. I mean, personally, I don't want to, but there was times when I remember I had my hip replacements.
Yeah.
That I did work remotely, which was a nice thing. I do appreciate that. But as far as working, I'd rather have my hands on the hardware.
Yeah. But I mean, no matter what you do, you could always measure the work that you're doing or have done.
Yeah.
Yeah, your supervisor can look in and say, wow, Terry did this and this and this and this. Anyways, they've been working remotely for aid organizations that are shedding employees. Many have no expectation that those jobs will return. Well, you know what? They're not gonna, because we're done, okay? You know, I was watching that. Oh, speaking of which, remember you guys made the, you transferred all those VHS tapes about the Civil War?
Could be.
To disc for me. It was the PBS thing, the Civil War.
I remember that.
Yeah. And then I was bitching because I was trying to watch the damn discs in the summer, and they'd start skipping like after about a half an hour or so, right?
Yep.
Well, I noticed in the summer, or even in the winter, when I take out a disc, it's like flaming hot, like it's a pizza in an oven, right?
Yep.
So now, mind you, it's like 30 below outside. The wind's blowing, the friggin' snow's blowing. It's crazy cold. I've got on long underwear. I've got on a long sleeve shirt, another sweatshirt, a jacket or fleece on top of that, and long underwear and indoors and pants and and anyways. So I went to watch the PBS thing, the Civil War, and none of them skipped. Yeah. And I'm thinking, wow, it's got to be because the temperature's so cold.
Did I put a label on those?
No, you just wrote.
Okay, because sometimes the labels warp.
Yeah. No, you just these discs were just numbered with a felt marker, which I prefer. Yeah, because I don't know why they get so damn hot. But anyways, Trump has called, and so I'm watching them, and Lincoln was talking about a new birth of freedom, right? Oh, and I didn't bring in the book. In this book, The American Aurora, I called Howie Carr and told him about this. Right when Jefferson got elected, right? I'm telling you, they in the election of 1800. John Adams did not want to leave the White House. I mean, he even talked to Jefferson about staying in the White House, right? And Jefferson's all like, no, it's not the way it works, Bucky, okay? And we had our one of our congressmen here in Virgins, our only congressman, like we still have only one today, Matt Lyons, our congressman was jailed in a jail cell with no window in it because he had the nerve to call John Adams a balding, toothless, querulous old man. So that means he violated the Alien and Sedition Act. And
yeah,
they
but what if it was all true?
It was true. That's what made it worse. So they threw him in jail until his trial, okay? And anyways, right before the country is ready to change hands, there's a guy named Dexter. Now, for some reason, they couldn't get anybody to be Treasury Secretary, Philo.
I'll do it.
Yeah, well, this guy Dexter was both the Secretary of the Treasury and the Secretary of War.
Ooh.
And lo and behold, guess what? They had a fire in both offices, and all the records were burned.
No.
Yeah.
Just
all the financials were burned.
Just a coincidence.
What a coincidence. And they said that one of the guys on the scene before the fire was this guy Walcott, who was the prior head of the Department of Treasury. Yeah. Okay. So anyways, John Adams wanted to stay. Jefferson said, no way, we're going for this. It went down to the 32nd ballot. That means they voted on it 32 times, Philo.
Well, what was the matter with them anyway?
It was something about the way the Electoral College worked back then.
Oh, okay.
It was different than it is now. It got thrown into the House. The election was thrown into the House of Representatives. So it went down to the 32nd ballot. And guess who cast the deciding vote on the 32nd ballot for Thomas Jefferson, Philo? A guy named Matthew Lyons, from Vergennes, Vermont. It's crazy, but true. Yeah. So anyways, Trump, so I'm watching the Civil War thing, and Lincoln had called for a new birth of freedom, and I really think that is what we're going to see in this administration. They're opening up records as we speak. There's still JFK records, as a matter of fact. There's 24 JFK records comprising 14,000 pages that are going to be dumped on the public pretty soon. And it's a new birth of freedom because we're done being taxed. Think about this. You get taxed from the day you're born to the day you die, man. I mean, it would be bad enough if it were just an income tax, but we've told you before about how this whole country was paid for by by import duties and tariffs. And then in 1913, they decided, well, let's take some more money. We had an income tax in the Civil War, and that worked so good. Well, let's see if we can rape the public again in 1913. So they came up with the Federal Reserve Act, and then started screwing everybody with the income tax again. And then you got the income tax, sales tax, property tax, food tax, gasoline tax, a restaurant tax. I mean, everything you do, every time you turn around, you are being taxed. And it's like they tax everything. Everything is taxed from the day you're born to the day you die. Everything is taxed. And so I think Trump is going to say, look, this is it. We're going to get rid of the Internal Revenue Service, and we're going to have the External Revenue Service and go back to having tariffs and duties, customs duties, pay for this country. And we can do it. Oh my God, have you seen the fight he got into with Zelensky today, Philo?
No, I didn't see it.
He called Zelensky a dictator.
No.
Yeah. Zelensky was supposed to have elections last spring, remember?
Well, I think that's the kettle calling the pot black. But anyways.
Well, we had a real election here.
Yeah. But
well,
the last two were stolen. We had Russian interference, and then Biden stole an election, so, hey.
But at least it was rectified this time. Zelensky has shut down freedom of the press.
Yep.
He's shut down freedom of religion.
Well, I can go for that one.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Whatever. And it's crazy. So Trump has called him out. If you get a chance, go to Truth Social. Because Zelensky's pissed. Zelensky wanted in on the negotiations, right? So Trumpster said, look, you've had 3 years to negotiate, Bucky. You haven't negotiated diddly squat. And now you want in at the last minute? We don't think so. So anyways, back to the grant suckers. The specter of a trade war with China, Mexico, and Canada galvanized Vermont firms that rely on cross-border trade. Let's see. Trump has also set out to trim the federal workforce, which is 8,000 strong in Vermont. I got into an argument with one of my relatives about this Sunday night, right, Philo?
That wasn't Swamp Viking, was it?
No, we might have been distant cousins. It was my sister, actually.
I'm a Swamp Viking.
Yeah, he was a good font.
He fit that moniker so well.
Yeah. Well, you should have seen pictures of that guy when he was younger.
I bet he was a strong guy, huh?
Oh, man, he looked like he came off the friggin' Viking ships, man. If he let his beard grow with that blonde white hair of his coming at you with a battle axe and a shield, man, you would have run too.
Yep.
So anyways, I'm arguing it. She's all like, there's going to be all these people looking for work. And I'm all, well, don't you remember what they told us when our jobs were going overseas? First, they went down south. All our manufacturing jobs, Philo knows this because he worked in a real machine shop.
Yes.
They said, well, you can learn to code. go back to school, get something else, learn to code.
Yeah,
They didn't
Morse-
care about us. They didn't give a sweet patoot about us.
Yeah, Morse code.
Yeah. So now we're supposed to suddenly care about their jobs?
Yep.
I don't think so.
Well,
It's-
at first, all of our jobs started going to Mexico.
Well, yeah,
And
yeah.
then-
All the
And then some of our stuff, like our we had one shop called Jones and Lamson.
Yep.
Part of that went to South Carolina. Joe Smith bought it back and brought it back up to Fellows, where I worked.
Yep.
They couldn't build them. Their people did not know how to run the machinery to make these optical comparators, and that's why we bought it.
Yeah.
And we've sold at least 30 of these comparators a month.
Yeah, I remember they were like a shadow machine.
Yes.
You could, it was incredible. You could take a part that you machined, say like threads, and it would blow it up and on
Yep.
the screen. Yeah, I worked with J&L comparators.
They were great, weren't they?
Oh yeah.
I don't
They
know
weren't
who's got
cheap
them now,
neither.
but they're gone.
Let's see. Which is 8,000 strong in Vermont, warning federal employees they could be furloughed if they don't take a buyout. And he's ordered remote workers back to their desks in Washington, a directive that has some Vermonters looking for new employment. But the attempts to dissolve USAID is that the most immediate impact on the employees in the Green Mountains. The $40 billion agency, that's what they say. It's $40 billion, Philo. It's not that much compared to the annual budget. Well, you know what?
Nothing is. Nothing's that big in the federal budget except the military.
Yeah, I don't care if it's 1/100th of the budget. We got to start somewhere, man. And the Musketeers have got in there, and they've written their own software to find out where you guys hid the money. And you know what? It's not going to a lot of the places where you said it was supposed to go. And you guys were supposed to come before Congress like every year and explain yourselves, and you're all like, nah, we ain't coming. We ain't explaining. If you don't like it, too bad. Take us to court. It's crazy. Well, now it's your time. Your time has come. Yeah, $40 billion delivers humanitarian aid to dozens of countries, and Vermont nonprofits help coordinate those efforts and run the projects overseas.
I don't see any of that money. And we're a nonprofit.
Yeah. Oh, well, we see it go out of our check every friggin' week, right?
Yeah.
So anyways, all right, there's one page left here. Now, here's your last chance. This is your chance to tell the world where the money goes. The Trump has fired all but a few hundred of the 10,000 workers at USAID, according to the New York Times. The New York Times, which has been getting grants from USAID like every other newspaper and news outfit in the globe. Come to find out, we've been giving money to papers that advertise. New York Times, AP, UPI, Reuters, you name it, they've been taking it. And when you take government money, man, you got to write the government cheese, you know? All right, so a judge ordered a halt to some of those layoffs, but there's no timeline for a ruling, leaving workers uncertain. Well, you know what? They're not uncertain anymore because last night, Judge Tanya Chuckin came back and said, you guys don't have any standing. You can't prove that, you know, that losing this money is going to hurt the country in any way. Okay. Among the affected nonprofits is ThinkMD, a Burlington-based medical software startup that in 2023 received $1.5 million from the Development Innovation Ventures. ThinkMD co-founder Barry Finette said the money supported a study in Nigeria of technology meant to enable non-physicians to evaluate patients in settings where trained practitioners aren't available. Okay. The study had ramifications globally, but 3 to 4 years of work and people put into this has gone by the wayside, said Professor of Pediatrics. He said 2 ThinkMD contractors in Vermont will lose their jobs. Wakefield-based PH International previously called Project Harmony. Doesn't that sound sweet, Philo?
Well, it sounds more like a escort agency.
His brain goes right in the gutter. Right in the gutter. Ask him for, no, right in the gutter.
Welcome to Harmony.
Dear Project Harmony, I saw one of your models, anyways, had received more than, whoa. A nonprofit, previously Project Harmony, had received more than $100 million in the past 40 years. From USAID, the Department of State, and private donors to operate civic education programs and cultural exchange programs. It put its 6 Vermont employees on reduced pay February 1. Wait a minute, do you believe that? It had what? 6 employees, right? 6 employees, and they've taken $100 million in the past 40 years. Isn't that insane? Is that
good.
nuts?
Good work if you can get it.
Yeah, evidently, huh? PH employed about 35 people in Armenia, Georgia, and Ukraine until it suspended 2 projects. The programs were run out of PH offices in Georgia and Armenia. The headquarters in Waitsfield was responsible for all of the financial reporting. What financial reporting, man? The USAID wouldn't report their finances. And like the Pentagon, they just had 7 failed audits in 7 years. Oh, man. Other Vermont workers have been laboring remotely for aid agencies. Let's see. One woman who consults for a DC nonprofit that provides health care services, blah, blah, blah. She was being moved to part-time status. Well, who is she? What does she do? It doesn't say. She wanted to stay in Vermont, but wasn't sure if she could. I have to go where I can get paid, she said. Not do the work I was meant to do, Philo. No. I have to go where I can get paid.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Does it involve getting laid? Like several others who spoke to 7 Days, she asked to remain unnamed because she wasn't authorized by her employer to talk about the cutbacks. But she could talk about all the wonderful work that she does or the company does, right?
I guess so.
You would think, here's your last gasp, the whole thing circling the bowl, you know, your job is on the line. You got a chance to tell the whole world what's going on, and you don't. No, you got to remain anonymous. Employees of other NGOs such as World Vision, Catholic Relief Services, the Catholic charities and the Catholic, they are the ones that were getting paid to bring over illegal aliens by the boatload for the past 4 years. Now, mind you, there were something like 20 to 30 million illegal aliens in this country before Biden got elected, okay? And he brought over another 20 to 30 million, but we're putting them up in luxury motels. In the luxury motel, that Ambassador or whatever it's called in New York City, I could be wrong, but you can look this up. It's owned by either Turkey or Pakistan.
You want me to ask who owns the Ambassador Hotel in New York?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to do it. I'll be right back.
Thanks. Care and Save the Children work with USAID and are uncertain about their future too. Some of them have employees in Vermont. Let's see. Here's another one. Sanders emailed a foreign aid consultant about Montpelier to stop work orders. The consultant, who also asked to remain unnamed, works remotely in public health for a USAID contractor is not based in Vermont. She said half of her team, about 200 people, had been furloughed in February. She moved to part-time status. Another unnamed grant sucker doesn't want to say what she does. She's not based in Vermont, and half of her team, about 200 people, have been furloughed.
Okay, I got it.
Okay.
It's funny. I got something from LinkedIn, and it says it's business owner at the Ambassador Hotel, Rico Narang, and he's from India.
Okay, I thought it was Pakistan, but I guess I'm wrong.
You're pretty close.
Yeah, very close indeed.
That's what they say in Rhode Island. They're side by each.
Yeah. You park your car in the dooryard. After Trump issued an executive order on inaugural day imposing a pause in foreign aid, contractors started circulating a link called USAID Stop Work. It's said more than 52,000 U.S. workers could lose their job. All of this for just 1% of the federal budget, the website says of the USAID funding. Again, well, if it's only 1% of the budget, then you won't miss it, right, Philo?
I won't miss it.
I won't miss it.
I don't see any of it now.
Right? I've seen 50 pages of it, double-sided here, and some of it was hysterical to read. Oh yeah, and they go on about the Peace Corps, the returned Peace Corps. Let's see, they mention the Peace Corps over and over again. Okay. Worked until last week as an independent consultant for a range of USAID-funded nonprofits. A chaplain, she's been drawing on her pastoral skills to counsel others in her community of aid workers. She said many are devastated over the plight of the vulnerable people they have been helping overseas. I have no idea it could change on a dime so drastically. Well, elections have consequences, like Obama said, okay? You know, and that's what happened. The American people got fed up, and they paid attention. They didn't believe any of this crap from the alphabet agencies and the alphabet networks that supposedly used to have a monopoly on news, that were actually getting USAID money to lie to us, all right? Okay, and the people have had it, and they voted for Trump, and he said he was going to do it, and he did it, and he brought in the Musketeers, and they are having a field day. And they come in, Philo, they change the locks, I hear, and they sit down and they grab people and they say, okay, show me where the books start, and off they go. The Burlington, let's see, I don't foresee I'll be needed by my typical clients because there won't be any funding available. The Burlington firm Resonance was founded in 2005 by Steve Schmida and Nazgul. You remember old Nazgul, right, Philo?
Oh, yeah, he was our neighbor, remember?
Yeah. Nazgul Abd Abdrazakova, a pair of community development workers with experience in the former Soviet Union. Schmida had complained publicly that the sudden cuts mean that Elon Musk-led Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, is illegally withholding payments to USAID contractors for work already completed. He wants Congress to investigate. Well, take the buyout, okay? Take the buyout. You know, unless you own one of the companies that has a contract, shut the hell up. Otherwise, if you do own a company that has a violated contract, have your legal team, go up to the government and show them what your contract was. Surely you must have a signed contract, right, Philo?
Well, that would be the idea, yeah.
Yeah, if you're going to get a contract to do all this work, you would think it would be in writing. U.S. Senator Pee Wee Welch signed onto a bill that calls for strengthening congressional oversight of foreign aid. Well, I would hope so. You guys have been promising oversight of foreign aid for the past 50 years, and we've never seen it. Anyways, they voiced their concerns to a letter to the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio, huh? Hoi, Philo. You know, people think that the diaspora of the Jews happened all over the globe, right? And what was the name of the guy who shot Oswald?
Oh, Jack Ruby.
Jack Ruby, okay?
Also known as Jack Rubiosa.
Rubenstein.
Rubenstein, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, I figured he was either Jewish or Italian, but I didn't know which.
No, he was, there are plenty of Jews in Italy, though.
Yeah.
Columbus was one of them. But, yeah, same thing in Cuba. His parents, Marco Rubio's parents fled Cuba. And,
so did a very, very famous drummer that I watch all the time. He got moved over here in the 60s by Catholic Charities in San Diego. And that was Dave Lombardo. Excellent drummer.
Sweet. Thomas Buck, a Burlington resident, spent his career overseas, knew USAID would probably take a funding hit when Trump got in office. Buck moved to Vermont in 2002 for a position at the Institute for Sustainable Communities, a Montpelier nonprofit that was then working on I think that was one of the grants I found in here, the Institute. And anyways, I'm not going to look it up now. For working on international development, but evolved to domestic work. Buck worked for years on USAID funded projects, has a network of Vermont associates in international development. He now consults part-time. Nice work if you can get that too, Philo. He did not anticipate the breadth of the changes swept through the network. The suddenness was shocking, he said. The way it was done, it sounds like a coup d'etat, like it's one of the first agencies to be attacked. He doesn't expect the jobs to be restored because there's no comparable funding source. Their careers are finished, he said last Thursday of his Vermont compatriots. USAID is really the only game in town. No, that's a big no-no. USAID was the only game in town. Not anymore. How about some news that we haven't seen in the news, Philo?
You know, I've been wondering about some of this stuff.
Oh, I've got a boatload of it too. While you were gone, I mentioned the Trump's going to dump JFK records. There's 24 records comprised of 14,000 pages ready to be dumped. Could be nothing, could be interesting. And, you know, if it is interesting, you know what's going to be happen to it, right?
Yeah.
It'll be redacted.
Oh, yeah.
They'll just take a black magic marker and... Oh, and we got an asteroid with a 3% chance of hitting the Earth, Philo.
Well, there goes the dinosaurs.
Yeah, in the next 7 years. Tell that to Mikey.
I'm going to tell him that. Yep, the dinosaurs are going next.
Oh, man, if I'd known, I would have put them up here on my table for the show. Oh, yeah. The asteroid is number 2024 YR4. In the next 7 years, we got a 3% chance. Oh, man. And I don't know if we put in the German chancellors talking to the girl from 60 Minutes. The 60 Minutes people went on a raid with the German authorities. Okay, now these are Germany. It's no East or West Germany anymore, but I mean, it looks like they've revived the Stasi or something. There were over 50 raids that night when 60 Minutes was there, Philo.
Yep.
50 plus raids that went to people's houses who had the temerity to make fun of people on the internet, making fun of politicians or anybody. If you do that or you post a meme that they don't like, bang, they come and they get you. And you get fined or you get jailed or both. It's crazy. And like I said, why would we pay for NATO money for any of these pukes if they don't have freedom of speech? Like Zelensky. We should have told him, look, we're not going to give you another nickel. Biden was in office. We should have said, no, you're not getting another nickel unless you have elections in the spring, like you're supposed to, and allow freedom of religion and freedom of speech.
Speaking of elections, when did Putin last have an election?
Yeah, well, I mean, we don't expect him to. That's
No,
why
I-
Putin's Putin, you know?
I would be expecting a lot more from him, too.
Yeah.
But he's a former KGB head, so you do not ever want to trust a guy, ever.
Well, at least he
you know-
sticks by what he says, you know?
Which means he's going to kill you.
Don't turn your back on him.
No. What I
Yeah,
can't
so
believe
anyways.
is how Bush, and even now Trump is, well, if he was lying, he'd tell me. No, he wouldn't. And Biden was a total joke with Putin. Putin had him tied up in knots, you know?
Yeah. Well, Trump knows who he's dealing with.
He better.
Trump is playing this game. Like, he will flatter Putin and, you know, make it sound like, you know, he's no dummy. He is no dummy, that's for sure.
No. Oh, no, don't underestimate this guy.
No. Yeah, he lived in Dresden, of all places, in Germany.
Yep.
East Germany. Anyways, yeah, on 60 Minutes, they have this liver-lipped kraut, some kid in an ill-fitting cheap suit, sitting there and talking to the 60 Minutes people.
Yep, I saw it.
About the 50-plus raids, man. Yeah, what they do, they have the Musketeers file. They have this thing called landing teams, right? It reminds me of D-Day, right? Where they have those boats. What are they called? Higgins boats, where they shove off. You know, the soldiers come down the nets and jump into the Higgins boats, and then the Higgins boats bring them the landing teams to the, you know, to the beaches of Normandy. Well, that's what the Musketeers calls them. The landing teams came in and they canned 400 plus DHS embeds. That's what they call the people that are in there that are anonymously dragging their feet and stuff. Well, there's no such thing as anonymous anymore, right, Philo?
I hope not.
So the Musketeers calling them embeds, and they can the opposition right away. Oh yeah, we've got this other puke named Norm Eisen. Hoi, another Irishman.
Yeah.
He's been upholding democracy for thee. He filed the first impeachment before Trump was even sworn in 2017. And he's taken money from USAID, of course. And MSNBC and these lawyers have amped up the protests. And it's funny because they show these protests. They'll follow them. The people in Washington, the people who live in Washington, right, Philo?
Yep.
Like Bannon and what's that girl's name? Natalie G. Winters. You watch this girl. She's like the next Leslie Stahl, only she can't be bought, right?
Mm-hmm.
Natalie G. Winters. She is tough, and she's got the receipts, mister. And she lives in Washington. She said that she's watched these people, and what happens is these advanced teams, like they haven't got the money for the Rent-A-Riot people, so they'll bring in. They go from building to building to building, and they'll bring up a podium and battery powered, battery powered microphones and amplifiers. And then they set it up, and then bang, in the next few minutes, the protesters arrive with their signs, and they go from the State Department to the USAID building. It's like trick or treat. And they go from building to building, having this thing. And then the MSNBC and NBC camera people, they'll get a low shot. You watch, they'll never have a tall shot of the buildings around or anything. They only have low shots to make the crowd look bigger, right? And it's wild. So pay attention. When you see these so-called protests in D.C., pay attention, people, and look to see how many are really in the crowd. Yeah, Doji has found that 20 million in the USA people at the IRS, at the Social Security file, they found 20 million people in the USA that are over age 100.
I heard it was 130, 140.
Oh, well, yeah, it goes up in gradients, yeah.
Yeah, they found some people over 150 years old, and I want to be one of them.
Oh, man. Yeah, it's crazy. 20 million over the age of 100, a million, Philo, over at the age of 150.
Okay, Steve, last but not least, make it a good one.
Oh, man. A good one?
Yeah.
1 out of every 6 people here that you meet on the street is an illegal alien.
Oh, wow.
And Biden took 577 vacation days. Go figure. Well, once again, you wasted a perfectly good hour of your life watching this stupid show. So hopefully we'll see you again next week. Inshallah, as the Hebrews say. So until then, get on your hands and knees in the men-only mosque, snip the bum of the guy in the man dress in front of you, head east towards the meteorite in Mecca and go, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Akbar.
And happy Deus Magnus Est to one and all.
The federal government won't. And if you think you're afraid of Trump, you should see how afraid of Trump I am.
What?
It demands
Trump ain't after
a
you, honey.
response from our elected officials to say, we recognize that you are under attack, and in Worcester, we are going to protect you.
That have come out, like the $59 million spent on luxury hotels. It's actually not.
FEMA money for migrants, that's okay now?
No, I'm not saying it's okay. I'm not saying it's okay. Don't put words in my mouth.
So would you stop that? Would you stop that process?
Don't be the portrayal. What I'm saying is the portrayal by him is
Don't
just
be a
not
what,
factually
Anderson?
accurate.
The taxpayers of the United States of America should spend $400 million buying, quote, armored Tesla production units. Isn't it great and definitely not at all illegal or profoundly corrupt? Definitely not ripping us all off to pay themselves, right?
Donald Trump didn't give that contract to Elon Musk. Joe Biden gave it to him.
Yeah, because they're
Even
electric.
liberals are calling
Fool.
that out loud. The 400 million armored Tesla story is a fake scandal in a sea of real graft and horror.
Musty millions and musty Moscow rights to the moon.
Right?
Because if you don't, we're going to stand up, we're going to speak out, we're going to march, we're going to do anything we need to do to make sure that the people of this country understand that the CFPB is for them. You get your musty hands off of our money. Or go to
Musty.
Moscow.
Don't be musty.
You musty moo moo moo.
A musty moo moo moo. Wait.
You saw me carry that car. Why was you wrong? I ain't wrong though. See, it just you said to me, I'm scared. I'm gonna get out of the way. Forget out time. I didn't know you were coming back for me. I'm letting you coming out.
I told you stop.
No.
And that's why you pulled over there, because these folks over here yelling that you knew you was supposed to be
To
parked
conduct
over
a genocide. The genocide was conducted by an
By
authoritarian Nazi
Hitler.
regime. There was no free speech in Nazi Germany. There was none. There was also no opposition in Nazi
Yeah,
Germany. They were the
dumbass.
sole and only party that governed that country. So that's not an accurate reflection of history.
Dummy.
Makes the best trade, makes good and right.